Hello, everybody. This is Susie Coleman. I'm substituting for Mike Bauman this week, and this is Bauman's Breakdown. And I'm a friend of his mother's, and I really love the show. I listen to it when I do my jog every week with my little dog Poopsie. He's just a little Jack Russell Terrier. He's so crazy, but he really likes it too. He likes listening to Mikey's voice, and he's just a good young fella. And I don't mind the metal, actually. In the 80s, I was really into the pop stuff. I was really into the Police and the Talking Heads and all that fun stuff. But my husband, Jimmy, actually was a big metalhead. He was into Dio and Iron Maiden and Twisted Sister and all these bands. So it's kind of cool to see what's going on now with all this new stuff. And boy, Mikey's such a good kid. I really like it, and he's a little sick this week, so we're going to do the show, and I hope you enjoy it and get used to my accent a little bit. I'm from parts, probably a little further away from what you know, but
where exactly are you from, ma'am?
It's I'm from far away.
Far away?
Yeah, I'm from pretty far away. Yeah. I've got some Saskatchewan in me, and I've also got a lot of Nordic blood, and so my ancestors, Mikey, are from the Baltic Sea area, and then I kind of came down from North Dakota a little bit, and from Canada. So it's
a North Dakota accent there. Yeah, you got the hose on that the North Dakota ladies wear. Yeah.
I don't know what I just did. I was trying to think of what voice to do this week.
I thought you should stay there the whole time.
I was giving you Matthew McConaughey and stuff, but I just felt like a Susie Coleman, just kind of a little northern accent. I don't know what this really is, but it's a funny voice. I feel like
maybe it'll bring us some snow or something here.
Remember that from Fargo? You saw it, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. They were just kind of funny looking. Can you describe them? Is that your friend there in the wood chipper? Is Dad staying for supper? I don't know. Let's ask him. Dad, are you staying for supper? Yeah, that mood, dude. The Coen brothers are awesome. But anyway, this is Mike Bauman. I am here, alive and well in the flesh, and that is my voice you're hearing, my sexy jazz voice. Here we go.
Don't do that to me on a Saturday or on a Monday morning, please.
But you like
especially when I don't have my coffee maker blew up this morning.
You like
that
the
really
sexy jazz
sucked.
voice. Well, poop happens,
Dear
right?
Santa.
Remember that from Forrest Gump? Like they were doing and he wipes his face on the thing, and he goes, "Man, I hate when this happens." He goes, "Well, it happens sometimes." And then the guy comes up with the bleep happens bumper sticker. You remember that?
No.
Remember that in the movie?
I thought it was when he wiped his face, and it just had the smiley face.
Yeah, that was you're right. That was the other one. And then I don't know. I think he was jogging, and then
right.
everybody's fine. The guy stepped in crap. Yeah, that's right. Forrest Gump.
Well, that's my. I got to get a Christmas present for myself this year, I guess.
Coffee maker.
I'm going to do the coffee maker.
Well, hey.
I finally get to open something under Christmas. I don't think I've opened anything under Christmas in 20 years. So this will be my first Christmas present in 20 years. Yeah.
Really? You just surrounded by a bunch of Scrooges or what?
We're just poor.
Yeah?
Yeah, just poor.
Yeah, well, you know what? As long as you're with the fam, that's really what matters. It really is. I've kind of learned
I couldn't care less.
I
guess I am Scrooge. I played Scrooge in my 6th grade play.
Really?
I was Scrooge. Yes, I was. I was Scrooge.
There's there was a version that they did almost 20 years ago now, and we used to watch that like every Christmas, and I can't remember the name of the actor. It was a little bit more obscure though, it wasn't
Scrooged with Bill Murray, was it?
No, that one's awesome.
Yeah.
That one's awesome. If you touch me again, I'm going to rip your goddamn wings off. Okay? I love Bill Murray, dude. I love him. I apologize.
He's got a couple of good movies coming out, too.
I apologize for saying goddamn.
Yeah, Ghostbusters is coming out. Ghostbusters 3.
Is that actually going down?
I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is. I think so.
You know what? I like him because he really stays kind of out of the public eye. And I can't remember. I was reading like GQ or one of those magazines, and I think they were interviewing. I think it may have been either Paul. I think it was Paul Rudd, and a couple other guys like Zach Galifianakis and I think it was actually Tracy Morgan. They were doing like a funny guys interview or something.
Right.
And Paul Rudd was talking about. I think it was Paul Rudd, and they were talking about. He was talking about how he had done some work with Bill Murray, so they stay in touch, and he's cool, and he stopped by one of the movie sets or something where Paul Rudd was at. I know I'm like the most friggin' awesome story. Maybe it was Paul Rudd, and I don't know, but he was talking about how like Bill Murray just pulled up in like this like '92 like Ford Escort and just had like a Cubs jersey on and like a 5 o'clock shadow and then I read an interview that Bill Murray did in GQ. And he like doesn't do a whole lot of interviews and stuff. And if you want to get in touch with him for like a movie or an interview or whatever, he has this number that you call, and then if it sounds interesting to him, then he'll do it.
He'll call back, yeah.
But he stays out of the whole Hollywood scene. He's not into that. He's never been into that, and I think he just keeps like kind of a low profile. And I like dudes like that, man.
Cool, yeah.
I like dudes like that, but yeah, Scrooged is a classic. If you haven't seen it, some of the younger listeners, Scrooged, and it's a take on the classic Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and it's really funny.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
really
Very good.
really friggin' funny. And it's I think it's kind of underrated. I mean, I love a Christmas Vacation. I mean, that's an awesome classic comedic holiday movie, and it's always a staple at our house. But Scrooged is definitely awesome as well, and it's something we've been watching a lot. But we watched one that was like like I said, I can't remember the name of the actor, but it was a little bit more obscure, and there was some song and dance stuff, and then we kind of. We used to watch it every Christmas with like my mom and my family at home, and we kind of make fun of it now just because there's some one-liners in there that are pretty good, and he's, the ghost of what's his name, Jacob Marley, comes back. Isn't it Jacob Marley?
I think you're right,
and
yeah.
he comes back and he's like, "You're nothing but a crump of mustard. You're an old potato. That's what you are. You're an old potato." And then the guy's just, he gets mad and starts clacking his chain. I mean, there's just a lot of like a song and dance part with all like the orphans and the poor kids are out in the streets, and Scrooge is walking down, and he's, "I hate people, I detest them," or what does he say? He's like, "I hate people," and he's like, "I detest them, I abhor them," and I mean, it's just it's funny stuff, man. It's funny. It was a good movie, but it's just stuff you look back on if you watch the same movie over and over and over again. You just start like dissecting all the quotes, but.
Some of the things you get excited for Christmas time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I just want to get it over with. This year's one of them years. It's just let's get it over with.
Well, today's what, the 10th, so we're 2 weeks from Christmas Eve.
And I mean, there's no snow coming. I mean,
and when you guys hear this, it'll be the 14th. So yeah, we'll only be 11 days away.
Yeah.
I still got to do the Christmas shopping, which I always do it like the week before. Just because by that point everybody's kind of done their shopping already, so I can go to the mall without having to worry about there being like a bunch of crazy people everywhere. Like, I never do the Black Friday crap.
Oh, God,
Screw that, dude. Screw
You'll never see me out there.
And you know what's terrible is that they keep moving it. Now it's not just Black Friday anymore. Now it's like Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
Then you've got Cyber Monday.
It's our fault.
It's ridiculous. Like, all this greed from all these places. It's like, what happened to businesses being closed on holidays so people could go with their families? And who are you out there? Who the hell are you if you are going out on Thanksgiving night? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? What are you getting that you need so much? What are you getting such a great deal on?
That TV. That $100 TV that'll be broken in a year anyways.
And that's the thing. People don't look into it. Like, some of the laptops that they have on sale and stuff, they're like not even Pentium, the latest Pentium processor. Yeah. They're like Pentium 3 processors. And it's like, that's why it's $300, folks. Do the research, man. Wise up, y'all. Wise up. Christmas ain't about presents. It's about spending time with your family. And you know what?
Amen.
Come on. Let's, some of these companies out there. Granted, I'm somebody that's looking for work, so I don't want to name anybody and slam anybody in particular. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man.
It is Christmas.
Thanksgiving night? Really? You're going to have people come in on Thanksgiving night so that crazy people can line up outside in 40-degree weather and get some TV? I mean, come on, man. You want to do the Black Friday thing, fine, but don't start doing now Black Friday starts at Thanksgiving. Pretty soon now it's going to be like, now Black Friday starts on Thursday. Now Black Friday starts on the Tuesday before Black Friday. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Anyway, I want to transition here and get off my soapbox a little bit and get into the holiday spirit. Susie Coleman's going to get in the holiday spirit, yeah. I really don't know what accent that is. I hope if you're from North Dakota or one of the states or, Canada or provinces I've named that you don't think I'm an idiot now and tune me out. Because it really is just a made-up voice, and I just kind of just picked a random state. And I've been to Canada, and I love Canada, and I love the people there. And, I actually do want to get to, like, Vancouver and Montreal and some of the big cities up there eventually. And not even just the big cities. I want to go, like, up. I want to go up into Canada, because once you get past, like, once you get into, like, more northern Canada, like, there's just nature, man.
Yeah, it's just all nature,
I want to do that. That's, like, my dream. A lot of people dream of, like, living on a beach and having a big old beach house and a Benz in the driveway and a boat and all this stuff. I'm not a stuff guy. I'm a spirit dude. You know what I mean? Like, to me,
yeah.
if I ever, quote unquote, make it as a journalist or, in the music stuff that I'm doing, which I friggin' love it, man. I ever since I was a kid, I've loved music and writing, and I love sports too. But, my dream would be, like, I'm gonna save my money and get myself, like, a nice, small little ranch cabin style home just on a lake out in the middle of nowhere, just out in the middle of nowhere. And I just wake up and I just see this crystal clear lake that hasn't been polluted with all kinds of crap, because there hasn't been a billion human beings that have peed and pooped in it and dumped their garbage in it. And there's just mountains and eagles, and I don't have to worry about that. And I'm just, all I got is myself, and God willing, if I haven't, one of my cats and whatever my wife and my kids and bears. That's all.
They made a movie about it. It's called Little House on the Prairie.
No, not that. I don't want to be, like, foraging for my food and stuff and, like, going out and collect.
Well, if there's no one there, you're going to have to forage for food.
Well, there's going to be civilization. You'll have to drive.
You'll have to have a landing pad for your helicopter.
Drive into town, but but that's what I mean. Like, I want, I want serenity. I like the quiet
Michael
away from.
Ingalls.
You know what I mean? And the beautiful thing now about the world we live in is that you can't. It's kind of a blessing and it's kind of a curse. Is that you can do a lot of work and reach out without having to be in the epicenter of all the madness,
Right.
You can do interviews online, and you can do the the Skype and all that. So, but that's my dream, forget all the fancy schmance. I don't want the hustle and the bustle. Damn it, if I've earned my money by that time and I've been successful enough by my 50s and 60s, I don't want to deal with anybody anymore. I want to be peacefully on a lake somewhere where there's not a billion people peeing and pooping in it and dumping their crap in it, and just eagles and nature and bears. That's all I want. That's all I want. But for now, guess what? You're getting Bauman's Breakdown, and you're getting into the third month here with this puppy, and thank you so much to everybody, for everybody who's been listening. I appreciate it. I know I've given you guys, I've really tried to mix it up. I started the thing off. I wanted to hit you with some big national names, international names, really. Korn, Trivium, Nonpoint, these bands that have been established and done a lot of wonderful things in music over the last, 15, 20 years. And for Trivium, Nonpoint, really the latter part of the last, 10, 15 years. But names that you recognize. But one thing I wanted to do, I really wanted to talk about some local artists on here, and I've done that with you guys. The couple of artists that I've given you here, Tropic Bombs and Dean Tartaglia from Mindfish and the Sights. I wanted to give you guys some bands that maybe you weren't as familiar with that I feel like are making really good music that is worth your time, well worth your time to go check out. Because I want to give you the whole scope. This whole thing. I mean, it's all about just sharing music and sharing experiences, and that's what I want this podcast to be about. I want you to get the artist's story, and I also want to talk about groups that I feel like are worth your attention that maybe you don't know about if you're living in, North Dakota or Florida or California, and you're not familiar with either what's going on here locally where I'm at in the Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan area, so that's kind of what I wanted to do and kind of give you the whole scope, indie artists, local artists, and national artists, and I've got some more national stuff coming up and as well as more indie and local stuff, so the whole gamut. There's no reason for you not to tune in, damn it. If you like music, I'm giving you the whole damn thing. I'm giving you the whole kit and caboodle, for crying out loud. But anyway, thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it, because without an audience, this would just be me and Mike just getting up early every Monday morning and just doing our thing. And we would still do it anyway. Folks. But it's cool to know that you guys are checking it out, and thank you so much. And once again, you can subscribe for free on iTunes. Just type in Bauman's Breakdown. This week, I do have a local artist that I think you're going to hear a lot more about in the near future. They're very talented young men, and I actually just talked to these guys last week, and they have their EP release show, which will be tonight if you're in Northwest Ohio, since this is going to be airing on a Friday as always. Then they are a band called The Golden Dawn, and they're going to be playing with their buddies in Convictions, I believe Hail to the King, and Northern Shores. $8 in advance for you local listeners at Culture Clash Records, Ramalama Records, and at the door the night of the show they're going to be $10. The doors are at 8 tonight out at Frankie's, and it is the Golden Dawn's EP release show. And for the rest of you who aren't familiar with the Golden Dawn, if you're not from this area, these guys, you could classify them as metalcore for sure. That's kind of their sound, but it's got a lot of depth to it. Their name, actually, the Golden Dawn, is a direct reference to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which was established in Great Britain in the late 19th century. And the group that is based off of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, they practice spiritual development. And so the lead singer, Chris McCormick, for the Golden Dawn is a very avid reader, and he and Aaron Harman, their drummer, are the two that I talked to for this particular show and the story that I did for the Toledo Free Press. And they're just really, really nice young guys, and I thought it was cool, even the meaning behind their name. There's a real spiritual connection with the music that these guys make. Their EP is titled Amor Fati, which translates from Latin to love of fate. And that was something that Chris picked up from Nietzsche, and it's just basically about kind of, he believes that no matter what experience or what circumstance you're in, you can be whoever you want to be. And so there's a real uplifting quality to the metal and the music that they make, and there's just a lot going on with these guys. It's more than just trying to be heavy and aggressive and trying to, melt your face musically. There's a lot going on underneath it. So I'm really excited for these guys, for their EP. I've listened to a couple of the songs that are off of it, and for those of you who are into heavier music, I think you're really going to enjoy it. So without further ado, I want to shut up and let you guys get the deets behind a band that I think you're going to be hearing a lot about in the near future. So without further ado, here is Chris McCormick and Aaron Harman, the vocalist and drummer, respectively, for The Golden Dawn. Well, first, I just want to say thanks for taking some time with me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem at all.
I guess just to kick this thing off, how did the formation of this band come about? I know on your Facebook it said you guys have been together now since January 2011.
Yeah, roughly around there. The band, I guess, as a core, it's been about the time, but as far as like being around me and Chris, we've been like in band since we were like 13, 14 years old, like just trying to like put together something and just I guess maturing and like trying to find our own sound. So I guess it like took up till now, but as far as the band, we've kind of been together for like 3 years and then got settled on our sound about a year ago. So it's been pretty good ever since then.
How old are you guys? How old are you guys now?
I'm 21. Chris is 22 now. Yeah, 22.
Oh, okay, so it's been like 7-8 years you two have been playing together?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Now, what about how about the name? I mean, historically, the Golden Dawn, was that just something that like are you guys history buffs? Is that something you guys were interested in, or is it something that just kind of came up when you guys were thinking about names for this band?
I was actually big into reading. I'm really big into reading, so I read a lot of books by Alistair Crowley and stuff. And one day, Aaron came by the name, and I was cool with it because I've always been a fan of his, and it works on a bunch of different levels. It's in a poem I like too, so it worked all around. Okay,
that was just Chris just now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, because I thought I saw that, I was like, wow, these guys are getting pretty deep with this, because sometimes it's just sort of random, you know, bands just kind of come up with like lists and just try to figure out what sounds the coolest. But so basically, the concept behind it was just sort of like the spiritual awakening. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, it's also got a more cynical meaning, because everyone's always looking for like a turning point in their lives if they think everything's going to become perfect, and it usually doesn't work out that way. So it works on a couple different levels for us.
Is that just because the music for you guys, is it because that you guys have like a spiritual connection with the music too? Like when you guys play, it's a catharsis of whatever you're feeling?
Absolutely.
Now, for you guys personally, I know Aaron said you guys have been playing together now almost 7-8 years, but what about just in general in your lives? How long has music been a part of both of your lives? Has it been something that you've known you wanted to pursue for a while?
Yeah, for a very long time. Yeah, me and Chris both grew up in pretty musical oriented households. Like my dad was in a band, so right off the bat, my dad's oh, let's give you an instrument or something. So he got me on. I originally started playing guitar before I became a drummer, and then fell in love with drums. So it was literally in high school and grade school, all the other kids are out playing sports and stuff, and I just kind of wanted to stay inside and practice. And then at the same time, before me and Chris met, Chris was just in the house, just rocking out to all the bands. He was stoked on as a kid, and we just kind of both kind of built up our musical taste when we met. It was perfect, because I was hey, you're equally as passionate as I am, and for some reason everything clicked because we were on the same mental level, and especially meeting up with the other guys, it was meant to be, because everyone else in our band had the same musical background, I guess. Everyone had been playing for years and years and years, so the passion level was the same. So when we all met, it was just wow, everyone has been doing the same thing, and we just didn't know each other, so it was really surreal when it all kind of clicked, I guess.
Yeah, talk about sort of how this band came together. When did you guys first get the ball rolling for this? How did the formation come about?
Yeah. Well, originally, like I said, me and Chris had been in a bunch of little bands, I guess, just maturing musically and kind of just being kids trying to figure out what we're doing. And I mean, we had a couple different members come and go, and then one day I think me and Chris just kind of sat down and we were we were surrounded by a lot of recycled music and stuff, and just the industry is so oversaturated with the same thing. We're all right, well, we need to get a team of people who are on the same level as us and have the same ideals and stuff that we kind of would like in a band. So finding members like that was hard, but it was kind of everyone clicked. It would be our one guitar player, Jeremy O'Hara. We just kind of met him through a friend, and we're hey, you get along with us, and we started jamming with him, and it was he was playing the guitar that me and Chris had wanted all along, and I mean, I guess as every member kind of came into the band, it was for me and Chris, at least, from being in so many other bands, it felt like home. It was okay, everyone clicks, everyone's on the same level, and then we have our friend Pat came in to play guitar, and just completely took everything that me and Chris wanted in a band and helped make it happen. And then just recently teaming up with a new bass player John Fleshman, he's just been great, and it's more of not just a music thing, but a family thing. And since everyone's on the same level of what we want our sound to be, and it's just everything about it, it's perfect. And I feel that's something a lot of bands don't have. So for us, us coming together was the best thing, because it's not only about the music, it's the things we write about and the things we're passionate about. We all agree on a normal day basis, and it's not we all practice and go home or hate each other. It's we're all brothers. So to connect with people like that in a band has been something we're all really happy about and just so thankful for. So it's been great since we got together.
So the core of the Golden Dawn Band, you guys, besides yourself and Chris, you guys with Jeremy, it's been a couple of years now.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much I'd say for like about the past 3 years.
Okay.
It's been about me and Chris and Jeremy, and like literally like, you know, like when all our friends are like going out and like partying and stuff, it's like me and Jeremy, or me, Jeremy, and Chris just like, you know, in a basement on a Saturday night, like just literally trying to work out like 30 seconds of a song just so we can like make it exactly how we want. And, you know, as soon as everyone else came along, it was just like perfect, you know.
So you knew that you found your fellow musical nerd brethren, the guys that would just wanted to play all the time.
Yeah. It was like, I was like, you know, they're like, oh, is this party going on? I was like, yeah, well, you want to just like hang out and play guitar? And he's like, yeah, I do. So, I mean, I was like, all right, well, this is awesome. So, you know, just to be able to find someone like that, it's honestly rare in such a small town. So, I feel like it was meant to be.
Now, how about the heavier music for you guys? Because the couple of songs I've listened to, Rats and Tell Me, I mean, I definitely hear sort of the metalcore influence for sure, but you guys also have some more ambient stuff in there, and kind of more like spacey electronic, especially I think it was in Tell Me, I could kind of hear that a little bit. So sonically you guys have that going on too. Music wise, like what got you guys into sort of the heavier stuff?
I think me and Chris mainly just growing up, you know, like I guess the music scene in Toledo has always been, we've been really lucky to have like, you know, really interesting metal bands and stuff like that. But just growing up being influenced by heavier music, I know that, you know, me and Chris both grew up like listening to bands like Slipknot and like Nine Inch Nails for Chris and like Marilyn Manson. So it's like we were lucky enough to be exposed to heavier music like right off the bat. So it was just kind of like the mental maturing of like how we wanted to make our sound and like how we wanted to be like heavy.
And then we started listening to experiments later.
Yeah, and then we, like, as we, like, mature, like, I think, like, in high school, me and Chris started listening to more, like, experimental, like, metalcore bands and stuff. Like, you know, I remember, like, when, like, Under Oath came out and, like, Norman G and all these bands, like, it was, like, the new wave of hardcore, which evolved into, like, what metalcore is now. So I guess we just kind of, like, progressed with the scene to, like, what's been heavy recently. So, and then, obviously, like, you know, we, like, don't want to sound the same, so the ambient elements and stuff that we add in, like, I guess, like, the lyrics that Chris writes, everything Chris writes is, like, not just, let's put this lyric here because it fits. Everything's to convey a feeling, and everything Chris writes about is, like, trying to get something out. And, like, we just kind of all decided that we had to feel like, all right, well, you know, everything can't be, you know, this really heavy, like, part. You got to have, like, emotion in it, you know, that way you can connect with your audience. And, like, through, like, the ambient stuff, like, we feel like Chris's lyrics are being conveyed. Like, especially in Tell Me, just, you know, we have, like, a really nice ambient singing part and stuff, and it's, like, really just trying to get what Chris is saying across. I mean, some bands, it's like, you know, it's just so heavy, it ruins the message, and I feel like bands don't focus on that. So we take pride in focusing on the message and trying to convey it out. So it's cool.
Yeah, Chris, can you build on that a little bit, just lyrically, where it comes from for you?
In my lyrics, I'm usually just trying to make sense of the world around me. I read a lot of books, so I usually get inspiration from there, like a starting idea. And yeah, it's just basically destroying preconceptions, and there comes a time in everyone's life where they've got to stop, you know, they've got to stop telling themselves what the world is and go out and find it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, can you talk about, because of the songs that I heard, Rats seemed to be the most, from like a heavy standpoint, that one seems a little bit more in your face, and then Tell Me seems a little bit more, taking more of sort of an uplifting angle. Can you talk about those two songs?
Yeah, Rats is mostly about artistic, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Unsure-ity. Like, being unsure about yourself and not having a lot of confidence, and then, but realizing that, you know, you do have something to say, and people are going to want to hear it. And Tell Me is more, like, about not being able to make sense of the world, and about a little bit about death, about uncertainty, and in the end, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, we're here, and no one can stop us from being us, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, when you guys, where did you guys go to high school at in Toledo?
I went to Whitmer, and Aaron went to Central Catholic.
Oh, okay, all right. So how did you? So when you guys were teenagers and you got the ballroom, were you guys like in the same neighborhood, the same school?
We had a mutual friend who went to Whitmer with me, and our friend told Aaron that I played bass because I used to play bass a long time ago, and we joined a punk band together our like sophomore year. Yeah, and we've been like hanging out every day since then.
Now, as far as the sound goes, just to talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing, because like Aaron, you mentioned that you kind of feel like, especially with the heavier stuff, things kind of seem to get a little bit oversaturated, and one band comes out, and then a lot of people start to kind of get into that sound, and then you get sort of all this stuff that sounds pretty similar. But for you guys, as far as like that whole spiritual and like visceral element goes, not just lyrically but how the music sounds, can you talk about that just like a little bit more, as far as trying to carve out your niche in an era when the digital age, there's new bands and new music coming out every day?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, I feel like it was kind of a struggle at first, because the awesome thing was, us coming together, everyone. It was weird. It was like, without even talking about it, everyone's like, this is the sound we want, because we were all producing it. So I feel like that was kind of weird that things clicked like that. But, I mean, I guess the one thing for us, I mean, as when we release the EP, people will find out, like, we take a lot of pride in the fact that, like, every song in the EP sounds different, because every song should be different. And, like, for us, we were like, we don't want to be the band that releases, like, an EP, and it's like every song, it's like, the exact same thing flipped, which I feel like happens a lot. So it's like we literally like broke down the song, like, what does this mean to us, and like what's a better way to convey this? So like whether we have the ambient parts or something is a little bit more technical, maybe like some singing, like, I mean, the little things that add up, like everything had a lot of thought into it, because we're like, we need to figure out exactly how we want to convey this. So for us, I think it was just cool, like before we even went to the studio, and like before we had even like all played it live, like we had sat down and like everything had been talked about and broken down. So I feel like for us, like the one thing we like kind of like flagged out in the industry, where it's like, the thing that went wrong with the industry is like it seems like people lost like the passion and like what writing is actually about and stuff. So I think all of us just kind of like rekindled that, like what we think music should be about. And because of that, just I guess the end result is like us producing, a little bit different things here and there, things that might sound, familiar to people from like, the old scene and stuff that's kind of new. So that way people deserve something new, and people deserve to hear, music that's going to hit home with that, and we feel like that doesn't happen enough. So we take pride in like writing music that, kids our age can like relate to, and like real world problems, not just straight negative music or, music about ex-girlfriends. It's like, no, this is music, about yourself, and this is music about like experiences you're going to go through and stuff, and just, maybe can like shed some light on things that you didn't know, and like help you cope with things you didn't know you were going to hit. So for us, like, I guess all of that together is just kind of like rounded off our sound, and we couldn't be happier with it. So yeah. So
would you say you're kind of more metal with a message?
Yeah, it's I feel like it's cliche nowadays, because so many bands are, like, I mean, whether it's, like a Christian band or like a straight negative band, or like, I mean, whatever you're trying to convey, a lot of bands, it's like they're so upfront with what they're saying that it, like, the meaning kind of just instantly diminishes, because it's just there in the open. But like the ability to, make music and have people dissect it, and I think it makes you more than a metal band. It's like when people ask, like, what kind of music do you play? It's like, we play metal, but like the little things we put in our music makes it, I feel like it sets us apart so much, So for us, like being like a metal band, like I feel like it's like this weird in-between floating area, because there's so many other things that are kind of like undiscovered in our music that we leave for people to kind of find. So
it's more about being creative than just being really heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We really just want to make music that a lot of people can relate to, instead of a very few.
Yeah.
Are there any books in particular, Chris, that have really influenced your songwriting?
Early in the band's career, I was reading a lot of Ernest Hemingway, and a lot of that is really influential to me. So a lot of like those turn of the century writers, I would say, like James Joyce and stuff like that.
And for you guys, even the title of the EP, it's I think I'm saying it right, Amor Fati, and if I look that up in Latin, that translates to love of fate or love of one's fate, right?
Right. I got that from Nietzsche. I was reading, I have a couple books by Nietzsche in my house, and I really liked the flow of the words and what it stood for, so that ended up being the EP, and we're really happy with it.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit? Because it kind of seems like the message of that is just you kind of have to you can't fight what is, and you kind of have to just accept things the way they are. Is that kind of what it's about?
Yeah, it's about circumstances. I believe that you can make yourself into whatever you want to be even though you're in a certain circumstance. Like, something can look dark, but you can always, turn it into a positive.
Are there any other songs on the EP that kind of touch more into that? I know we talked about Tell Me and Rats a little bit, but can you talk about some of the other stuff that people can expect on the record or the EP?
We have a song called Dry Blood. It's really fast-paced, and it's more about unhealed wounds and how it affects us in our day-to-day, behavior. Some people outside may think that you're perfectly fine, but everyone carries around baggage.
And you said it's called Drive?
Dried Blood.
Drive Blood? Or dry blood, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Ashes Again is about, we have a song called Ashes Again. It's about, finding out that, something you hold really dear to your heart isn't really there for you. And you gotta make up your own, reality and decide who you really are if you're ever gonna get through life.
And that one's called Ashes Again?
Yeah, Ashes Again.
Okay. So for you, is it more as a lyricist then? Are you more conceptual? I mean, does a lot of it come from just sort of the stuff that you read and the stuff that you observe, or is it drawn on personal experience?
It's all pretty much meshed together, I would say. I usually start with something I'm feeling at the time and just build upon it, and so yeah.
What about?
I usually make it so everybody can pretty much relate to it, but it's still I try to make it as unique as possible.
Yeah, what personally as a singer, who's influenced you? Who are some of your influences lyrically? Because I noticed in your guys' music too, you guys mix the sort of the screaming and that part of it with just the clean vocals. I mean, is there anybody in particular that you really either look up to or whose music really hits you at a visceral level?
When I was younger, it was all Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson for me, and a little bit later it was David Bowie. I have a lot of different influences, but David Bowie was a big influence. Marilyn Manson, Trent Reznor, like Aaron said, Slipknot, and stuff like that. I was a little bit of a dark child.
It seems like you like the guys that all had very, very unique personas. Every one of those guys, Trent Reznor, Marilyn Manson, David Bowie, they're all their own dudes. Is there something about that too that you like just the way that they kind of have their own thing?
I'm really into the theatricality, and all those guys are really big fans of art and all kinds of other mediums, and they just all kind of bring it all together into one piece, and I really like that.
And how about recording? I saw you guys were at Capitol House Studios. Isn't that's down near Columbus?
Yep. Yeah, it's about half an hour outside of Columbus, but yeah, this studio was absolutely the best thing ever. We loved it.
And that was with Nick Ingram?
Yep. Our whole EP, Rats, everything that we've released in the past year has been through Nick.
How did that relationship come about with Nick?
I guess the cool thing was, we've been looking for a cool studio, and I feel like it's difficult as a band who's trying to be professional to find a studio that fits. So when we had stumbled upon, recordings from Capitol House, we were like, okay, well, this is exactly the kind of, how we want our music to sound. So we went down to Columbus to do Rat as a single, and worked with Nick, and Nick was just so great. It's like we could just be like, hey, this is kind of what we want, and he was 2 steps ahead of us. So like as a producer, it was just amazing. And then when we went to go back to do our EP, he had liked our single, so he's like, yeah, get back down here and let's like pump out this EP. And just spending the week down there, it's just awesome. Like Nick lives in like the middle of nowhere, so it's like you get to go down and write music, and like as we're recording, we can all like you can go for a walk in the woods and then kind of like detach. So it was just like all around being there was like a great recording experience. So I would highly recommend it to like anyone else, for sure.
Did that just come from you guys, sort of by word of mouth, just trying to dig and find the right guy to work with?
Yeah, like people, like there have been like a lot of our buddies' bands who like already kind of like blown up or taken off. I was like, like, hey man, like where do you think it'd be a good place? And like, yeah, check out Nick's stuff. He's really good. And like after just listening to it, we're like, yeah, this is great stuff. So we would like definitely love to go do our EP here. So.
What did Nick bring to the table as far as because you mentioned you guys went into the studio and it wasn't like you were coming up with stuff as you went along. You guys kind of had a vision as you went into the studio. What did he do to either enhance that vision or bring something out of you guys that maybe you guys didn't anticipate? Like what did Nick bring to the table for the Golden Dawn sound?
Definitely for us, one thing that we had noticed, all of us are really big fans of ambient music, and for us, like we feel like a lot of bands in today's, like metal realm that chooses to do anything like melodic, a lot of bands rely on like effects like synth and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like we all love using that. But going to Capitol House, like our guitar player Patrick, he writes a lot of our leads as well as Jeremy. But we were like, how can we, create like an almost atmospheric sound through like with our guitars as opposed to like relying on like an effect to kind of carry that for us. So going to work with Nick, we like explain to him, if we want this to kind of be powerful, like here we kind of want like this sound, that's what we're trying to convey. And through that, Nick could interpret that into like mixing like the guitar tones and getting like the cleaner guitars and like the more just come out exactly how we wanted it. So for us, it was just like he kind of like filled in the gap because obviously, none of us like know anything about recording. We just play music. So
he was the first professional we actually ever worked with.
Yeah, he was like the first guy that was like, we were like, okay, like this isn't like your front studio in your basement where you're trying to pump out a song. It's like no, this is like you're going here. And Nick, it doesn't matter if you're like a signed band and you're massive or you're the smallest band on planet Earth. Like Nick has like a huge heart for just making you sound the absolute best that you want to sound. So
he was really good at getting like he knew what we were going for.
Yeah,
even before we told him.
Yeah.
Now you guys as far as the process, when this came together, did you guys do this like this summer? Were you out there?
It was. We went the first week of October. I think for us, we like planned out like over the summer. Like I said, like we were just writing every single day that we could, like in the garage when it's like 110 degrees, and then we all just kind of came together and we're like, all right, you know what, like let's go take this and do something with it. So. We had done the single with Nick, and like literally as soon as I hit him up, like he is extremely busy, and I was like, yo man, like we would, be really excited to, get back and work with you on an EP. And Nick got us in like right in October, and we just like kind of like set sail for Capitol House like the first week of October, and got right in there and just got to work. It was awesome.
Now, how about the artwork and stuff? Do you guys do all that yourselves?
Yeah, we do. My friend Bobby Douglas, he does a little bit of graphic design on the side. And we were just kind of like, we really like, we're huge fans of like Peter Bruegel's artwork and stuff. We feel like he's a painter from like around the 1400s, and we feel like his artwork is like a really nice reflection of the music we write, just because of like the scenes he depicts with his paintings are just so chaotic. Like as Chris was saying, like our EP titles like Amor Fati, so the love of fate, all these different lives like intertwining. So, like, as far as artwork, we wanted to, like, kind of incorporate that, and I feel like using his artwork really kind of helped, like, display what we had been verbally trying to, convey with our music. So it all kind of, like, two and two, like, where they came together, so it was nice.
And what's his name again? You said it was Bobby?
Bobby Douglas.
Bobby Douglas, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just like to make sure that I got all the names and everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they all deserve, to be known because they're all amazing people.
Now, how about take me back to like the first show that you guys had as the Golden Dawn? When was that, and what was that experience like?
The first show for us was actually it was really it was cool because for us we had been trying to find our sound, which obviously isn't something that comes right away. So we expected like, all right, well, we can practice all we want for this first show. However, it might not come across the way we want. So our first show, we actually played at Headliners with Wilson and Measure the Redshift, I believe. I want to say that was like 2 years ago, and for us, it was really interesting because I mean, the thing that's different about everyone in like our band at the time, and even me and Chris at the time, we had never played like even like Frankie's or like a small venue. It was like us playing in the garage. So all of a sudden, like they threw us at like Headliners, and it's just like a lot of people, like a lot of our friends came out to support. So. It was like really surreal for us and exciting, and to be honest, I mean, even though I'm sure like compared to our standards now, it might not have been like this how we wanted to sound, but like the show went absolutely great, and people were really like stoked on it. So for us, like after leaving the show, it was just, I guess, just really encouraging because we realized that although like our music isn't, I guess maybe what's trendy or like what's big in Toledo per se, like we have a great group of friends who support us, and like other people who just we didn't even know that just came up, and they could tell they really like the spiritual kind of thing you guys got going on, and like you're like how you guys like go on stage. It's awesome. So for us, like the first show was just surreal, like good and bad, I guess. So it was fun.
Yeah, Wilson's got. I did a story on them a couple months ago when they were here, and I know that they just recorded, I think, with Steve Yvetz, who's worked with like Every Time I Die and Dillinger Escape Plan and stuff. I know they've kind of got like a mix of it's almost got like that party, definitely like that party element to it, but those guys really they're bruisers on stage like that.
They were amazing. Yeah, we're not personally like we don't know any of those guys in that band, but we definitely like to be their friends because they know how to get down, and watching them is always like just so much fun. They're awesome guys.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what seems to bring bands together. You can kind of tell if you're a musician who's in it because they love to do it, and who's in it because they want to be the biggest whatever, the biggest band in Toledo. And those guys, Chad Nicefield, their vocalist, was the guy I talked to, and they really, you can tell that music is, and their music is what they're all about. So that's cool. That's a pretty interesting lineup. And then Measure the Redshift, they were more. They were kind of more progressive, I think. Well,
yeah. They were like it was their EP release show, I think. Yeah, it was their EP release show. Yeah, it was cool. Like, I mean, that's one thing me and Chris love too. I feel like the music industry now, it's like like you go to a show and it's like if you go to a show, it's like only metal show or it's like only a hardcore show. And for us, it's like like why? Like I mean, like we love playing with bands like Wilson. Like we're polar opposites like for our sound, but like that's what's awesome, and we feel like kind of revamping that in the music industry would be sweet. So like that show was just cool. And I like the fact that the opportunity for kids to come out and see different like types of like music, like as far as metal and hardcore. So yeah, those guys are just amazing. I love watching them so much.
And for you guys, a couple of years in the making now, what do you anticipate next week's going to be like at Frankie's, and kind of where do you hope to take this thing going forward?
We're extremely excited and nervous because for us it's like like we were saying it's been so much hard work, and literally there's like no amount of money or anything that could ever make us happy. It's literally we just hope we can go out and like really deliver an awesome live show and like leave people just with something to kind of take home and just be like I just hope people can leave and be like that we're one of those bands that's like we pour our heart out on stage and like we put everything into it. So if we can have like a great turnout and have a lot of fun and like leave people with a little bit something extra to kind of like take home and chew on, like that would be in our opinion extremely awesome. That's everything we want. And then just hopefully just move forward and just try to like connect to as many kids and play as much as we can, and anything after that is just extra. We just love to be out and play. So
What about you, Chris? I mean, as sort of the front man, I know the vocalist. Sometimes you kind of got to be the hype guy and get the crowd up a little bit. What's for you on stage when you're singing and you sort of mentioned you have sort of this emotional and spiritual connection with the stuff that comes out of you. I mean, what do you hope you get from the people at Frankie's?
You can usually tell when they're into it and when they're not, and usually the people in the front seem to be into it. And I know next week we're gonna have a lot of our friends there, and it's just gonna be a really good time. And we're playing with a few of our friends too who agreed to hop on the show, and it's just gonna be a great night. And the day after that, we're actually going to Grand Rapids for another show, and it's gonna be our first out of town show. And I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm really excited at the same time.
Grand Rapids, Ohio or Michigan?
Michigan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, they've got, I mean, there's a pretty good music scene up there, though, and I know that they support, their local artists, like, you know, Pop Evil. That's a band that's obviously the last couple of years has really made a name for themselves, and I know back in the day when they started up there, they started out as like a cover band just to make the money to be able to start making their own music, and I know they got a lot of support. So I think Grand Rapids is a pretty good town for like rock and metal for sure. That should be pretty cool.
Well, now since hearing that, I'm a little bit more excited. I'm really excited for this. We're pretty much just jumping out of our skin, excited about all kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, you guys, I can't thank you enough for the time. This was awesome, and I hope the show next week goes well for you. And moving forward as a band, I hope you guys can really build an audience and make a name for yourselves for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. This means a lot to us. Yeah, it's really appreciated.
Alrighty, Duddy. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Once again, that was Chris McCormick and Aaron Harman, the vocalist and drummer, respectively, for Toledo's own The Golden Dawn. And if you're free tonight, I highly encourage you, if you're in the area, Southeast Michigan, Northwest Ohio area, to go to Frankie's Inner City over on the east side and check out these guys for their EP release show of Amor Fati. Convictions are going to be there, Hail to the King, as well as Northern Shores, and the tickets will be $10 at the door. And, if you got some time during the afternoon still to head out over to Culture Clash or Ramalama to pick up your ticket in advance, you'll save a couple of bucks. The doors are at 8 o'clock tonight, and, man, I think you guys will really, really dig this if you're into heavier music and you're into metal. Like I said, I think that these guys, they could probably fit into sort of the metal hardcore genre. But there's a lot going on. It's not just about being heavy for them. It's about, delivering a message. And I think that from the songs that I heard, they did it without being preachy. Chris is a smart guy. He reads a lot of books, as you guys just heard in the interview. And I think for him and Aaron in particular, these guys have been playing in bands together since they were teenagers, and now they're in their early 20s, so already they've got nearly a decade's worth of experience just playing music with each other. And I think finding the right group of guys now and kind of really developing their sound and working with Nick Ingram at Capitol House Studio, I think it really kind of helped them kind of carve out their niche and really what they're delivering musically. So it was awesome talking to them, and I just wanted to give a shout-out to you guys, Chris and Aaron. Thank you so much again for the time. Hopefully we can do something together again in the future, and hopefully I can check out one of your guys' shows here in the near future as well. But it was really awesome talking to you guys, and great luck to the show tonight and for everything moving forward. But, yes, make sure you check out The Golden Dawn. They're on Facebook, and that's where you can get all the deets on those guys as they move forward and progress as a band. And you can also go on to YouTube and just type in The Golden Dawn Toledo, and you'll be able to find some of the songs and stuff that they put up on there. I know Tell Me's on there, Dry Blood is on there, Rats is on there. And really, I mean, it's good, powerful music. As a guy who loves metal, I mean, that's definitely the vein of music that I'm, gets me going the most, and is something that I've always loved. These guys the production value is spot on, man. And not only that, but they're very talented on their instruments, and I think that it's something that is definitely worth checking out, not only live, but in the future, and I'm always down to support local artists as a journalist and let people know what's going on in the Northwest Ohio area, because I do think that there's a lot of talent here right now, and there's a lot going on across all the genres: metal, rock, country, rap. I mean, there's just about whatever you want. Jazz, you can find it on any given night in Toledo, and I really think that that's something about this city that I will always defend as a native of Toledo, when a lot of people say, oh, there's nothing to do in Toledo. Well, that's because all you guys do is go to the bar. You don't go out and check out all the fun other stuff that's going on. You just want to drink, and I know times are tough, and I know it's nice to go try to, drown your sorrows in alcohol, but when you wake up the next morning, you're just going to have a headache, and they're all going to be waiting there for you again. And I don't say don't go drink. I like to drink. I like a nice glass of JMO and ginger ale. I like some Labatt Blue Lots every now and again, but going out and getting smashed every weekend, there's a lot of other cool stuff going on in Toledo, man. There's, you can go to a concert and have a couple of brews, and, this past weekend, for example, was great. Their, Innovation Concerts put on the first fan appreciation show in Toledo for 2 straight nights. There were free shows. And it was awesome. There's a lot of great local bands there. And the next night, I had a great night going out and seeing Killswitch Engage and Shadows Fall and Acaro and Pieces of a Blackout and Buried But Breathing. A couple local bands were also at headliners for that, and it was awesome. And it was just cool to check out some music this weekend. There's always something going on in Toledo, and I think that's what really makes this city special if you're unfamiliar with the area or the territory here. And it's cool, man. So make sure you keep an eye on the Golden Dawn for sure. I really think that these guys have a good sound, and they really care about the music that they make. There's definitely a spiritual connection there for these guys with their craft, and that to me is really the foundation of any band, that whether they go on to sell 1 million records or they become a studio band that just does stuff on the side for years and has day jobs and develops a core of local fans. It all starts and ends with a passion, and if that passion is there, then the quality of your work is going to be there. And whatever you do, whether you're a musician or otherwise, and from talking to these guys and getting in touch with them, they were stoked to have me do a story. But I found in the conversation that they are really good young dudes, and I really do think a little wiser than their age would tell. And I'm not much older than them, but I think for these guys it was just kind of cool to get the backstory on the name and the EP and the meaning behind all of it. So much respect to the Golden Dawn, and I'm going to be pulling for you guys, man. So check them out if you're going to be in Toledo tonight. Like I said, at Frankie's, doors are at 8. Also, some good bands that are going to be there with Convictions and Hail to the King and Northern Shores. And you can get information as always at frankiesinnercity.com. And other than that, I just want to wrap this up by saying thank you, everybody, for checking out the show. Remember, you can subscribe for free on iTunes, and then that way every week when you load up your iPod or your iPhone or whatever device you've got, and you don't need an iPod or an iPhone to have iTunes, you can get this show every single week without having to worry about downloading or checking it out. Or, baumansbreakdown.podbean.com for those new listeners. You can always go there. You can get that show every single week there. And but if you do have iTunes and you can subscribe, that's great, because it lets iTunes be able to track how many listeners we have, and that's always good for trying to build up an audience for the little guys like me who aren't famous and are just dudes that love what we do and are trying to share the music and share information with the people. So, Mikey, I just want to say thanks, man. It's fun doing this every week, and we got Christmas right around the corner. We got a lot of games coming up for Toledo Sports Network. You can check us out at ToledoSportsNetwork.com. A lot of high school basketball going on right now. We're doing 2-3 games a week even right now. And you can always check out my handiwork over at ToledoFreePress.com as well. And other than that, thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate all of you checking out the show. It's pretty humbling to see over 2,000 channel visits, creeping on 2,100 channel visits, and it's cool to know that people are checking it out. So I really do appreciate it. And on that note, I'll wrap it up by saying keep the faith and be kind to one another. Peace.